All right, good afternoon. We're at Always in Stitches, and it's time for our Tuesday What's New. Peter, I can't believe it came around again. It's so quick. He reminded me. He's like, what's new video? I was like, oh.
I didn't even say what's new video. I just said what's new.
And I was like,
And you're like, oh, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. The weeks go so fast. You know, they tell you when you're young that time goes faster as you get older. And boy, is that the truth. I'm just, phew. I got a birthday coming up before long. I can't even believe how many numbers it's going to be. The cake will have to have a
violin, a fiddle.
No, a violin, fiddle.
A bow and arrow.
No, the thing to put the candles out.
An extinguisher.
Extinguisher. There you go. I'm gonna have to have an extinguisher on this one because there's too many candles. You can't put them when the fire alarm goes off.
That was a hard charade.
That was hard. That was a hard charade. I didn't play charade well. Okay. So anyway, we're here. Peter's behind the camera as always. We're cutting up, being silly like we like to do. I'm so glad you joined us today. I hope you're having a super stitchy day wherever you're at. So I feel like the news anchor in here when I'm behind this desk like this, but it's kind of nice to start here when I want to talk about things because it's busy on the sales floor. So that means if I'm the news anchor, then Peter's the weatherman. So Peter, tell us about the weather today.
Okay, I just looked outside. It's very sunny, and the temperature is 22 degrees.
Oh,
and
okay.
That's Fahrenheit.
That's Fahrenheit, and that's not enough. So I'm of a theory that I have to be in a temperature above my age, which is not 22. Not anymore. I'm 3 times that at this point. But that's good. You know what? The longer you live, the happier your life gets to be because you get to learn lots of good things. And that's what I'm here to do, is to teach you something today. We wanted to include in our What's New videos something to teach you a little something about notions, because I think sometimes it's a little overwhelming, don't you, Peter, that we've got so many tools.
Yes.
And then how do I use them all, and how do I make them work, and what's the right way and the wrong way, and gosh, how can it make my job easier? We've got some fun videos coming up that are part of our Serendipity series that even the people who receive the boxes are going to get the materials that are in it, but we're also going to have kind of an upload that explains everything they get in the Serendipity box. So with that will be some notion training, so I encourage you to watch those videos even if you're not receiving the Serendipity boxes, because you're going to get some good information out of that. But for today, for What's New, I want to talk about marking pens. And I have one in my hand that seems to be kind of like the little favorite of everybody. I don't know if I can set it right there and it can make it visible or not, but they're called Friction or Friction. I heard people call them Friction. They come in several colors. It's made by the Pilot Company. These were never designed to be used on fabric. The quilting industry adopted these into our tools, kind of like we adopted wax paper. The Reynolds Company does the freezer paper, not wax paper, but freezer paper, and they were going to quit making freezer paper. And according to Ricky Timms, they started continuing to make freezer paper because the quilters all wrote letters and said, no, you can't stop making freezer paper, we wouldn't be able to quilt. So, and I guess they still put patterns on. I'm going to have to buy a roll of freezer paper just to see that. But as quilters, we tend to adopt products and materials and things from other companies or from other types of crafting that are helpful for us. And this is one that we adopted a few years ago, and it can cause you some trouble.
Trauma.
Or trauma, yeah. I use a friction pen. I use these. Let me just say right out, I do use these. I do like the way they mark. I like the fact that they come in a variety of colors. What I don't like is they will remove the color from your project. And so, just as a test, I've got, this is just some plain quilting cotton. We thought it might be digital, but I don't think it is. This is just a plain piece of quilting cotton. This is just a solid, I think it's a Kona solid blue, and then this is a batik. And if I'm going to put a little line on each of these, like I would if I was quilting. And so I would draw a line here. Okay, and I'm going to draw a line on this one. You can see my nice red line. And they do make great lines. I love that. This blue doesn't show up maybe very well, but I can still see my line with this. Here's the problem. It's disappearing ink, right? Awesome. I love that it disappears. Watch. Iron. Ta-da! It's gone. You can't even tell I did that. Watch when I iron this one. My fabric color is gone too. Watch it, this one. The fabric color is lifted. You see how it's white? And I did a couple of them a little bit ago just to see if it continues. See, there's one I did before we even started this video just to show it still lifts the color. And I did one on the batik too, but I don't see where it's at now because the batik hides it. So batiks do hide, but see, there's definitely a color removal there. The reason these pins work, I think, is because when they get hot, it lifts the color. Now, if I put these pieces of fabric back in a temperature below 32 degrees, that red mark that I made is going to come back. So I might not want to use these to trace a template and then do top stitching, to do finished quilting. So, you know, and I've seen somebody actually do this. Have a beautiful quilt top, take a friction pin, mark all the templates of where they want to do their finished quilting, do their finished quilting, beautiful outlines, iron it, it disappeared. They sent it to somebody, it got cold in the mail, and when they got there, every place where they stitched and had made the line with this particular marker, there it was again. And it's like, oh, not a good day. But I do like these when I know I'm using it in an area where it's not going to show. Where if I iron away the fabric line, I don't care, you know, on the interior of something, on the inside of a bag, for instance, or the inside of a seam where it's not going to show again. So these have a place for us, but understand that they weren't created to be used in the quilting industry. So everybody's all about these pins, but I mean, I'm showing you right here, they lift the color out of your fabric. And what a tragic thing to make a beautiful project and then have the color disappear or have the color reappear and somebody can see, oh, they just draw the lines and followed them like, you know, follow the leader, when they think you just were so genius, you just did it freehand. So love these in the right spots, but not everywhere, okay? So then, if you say like, well, what am I going to use if I don't use these? Then I think you almost get in more trouble, because I just went out and real quickly pulled off the floor some of the things we have available to you. It's like, oh my gosh, this is too much for my brain. I mean, did you know we had all these, Peter? Did you realize we had this many choices?
No.
Yeah, I don't know that I really did, and I pay the bills. So I kind of ought to know what's out there. But let me tell you, this is one I like. And I think this is a situation where you're really going to be smart to talk to our staff and say, what's your favorite marking tool and why? Or ask your fellow quilters, what's your favorite marking tool and why? Because it depends on the application what I want to do. And what you have to be aware is they all appear or disappear or reappear depending on how you treat them. Some of these are going to wash out only. The only way you're going to get them out is to get it wet with a wet cloth and wipe it off. Some of them, when you iron it, it's there for eternity. It will never come out of the fabric no matter how much you wash it or what you do. So whatever you use, read the directions on the back. Now these Choco pencils are one of my favorites, but I know that I have to brush the chalk away before I iron it, because if I iron it with the chalk on it, the chalk stays on my item. But I love these. It's a nice, smooth, clean line. It's very legible. It doesn't irritate my sewing machine. They come in a variety of colors. They're refillable. I mean, this one. These are probably the two I use the most, honestly. And this one. I like this Miracle Chalk. This is Chubby Crayon by Miracle Chalk. And this one, it disappears with heat, but it doesn't take the color out. Okay? So if you're on that friction thing where I like to make a line, but I don't want to lose the fabric color, this one does a nice job. And I think basically it's just wax is why it works.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I think it's wax. I don't think it's got that gel ink in it. So there's some choices, okay? I'm running out of room. Okay, and then, so I like this chalk because it's in a container. I don't get chalk on my fingers. It just gets on my sewing machine. And it will get on the presser foot a little bit. You kind of have to wipe it off. If you don't want any chalk getting on you and you kind of like this pencil kind of thing, this is just like using a pencil. This is great. It's easy to refill. It's a fairly good price, and they're durable. So this one, to remove the lines, gently rub along lines to extend the eraser, a hold eraser section, and rotate the barrel. Lines can also be removed with a damp cloth. And Now this doesn't say if you iron it, it's there forever, but I would test it. Every one of these says, test it on a piece of fabric before you use it. Super, super important. Again, I made a bag, and I used a friction pen. This was years ago, and it hung out in the store as a sample. And you had to cut these big holes to put grommets in it. And I drew a line across the fabric to know where to position those grommets. And when I ironed it, guess what? I had a white line all the way across this bag, and it just made me sick. So don't make that mistake. Be sure you read the directions on how you're going to mark it. Okay, then there's one. Okay, self-erase marker. This one, he's laughing because he knows where this is going to go. So this one, you may not want to do a quilt, like mark an entire quilt top and then come back 3 weeks later and think you're going to do all the hand quilting on it, because they disappear in 1 to 7 days. So we had a customer one time buy one of these. She did her entire, put all her stencils down, marked, put it away, had to go on vacation, had her teeth pulled. I don't know what she did. Anyway, she came back 2 weeks later. Her marks were all gone. It's not funny. It's really not funny. It's funny in the sense that these are kind of fun to get for kids, for Christmas gifts and for Christmas stockings, because you can get a piece of fabric and write all this stuff on here and then heat it up and erase it, especially with these friction pens, and then it comes back. Or have them write a note and it disappears. So think, there's other ways to use these besides what we're just saying. That makes it fun. I love this one. This is a good one too. This one's been around for a while. This is just a chalk cartridge. The difference with that one and say this one, this is a chalk cartridge also. It holds chalk. This one's kind of a fat line, so it doesn't make a nice tight line if I'm trying to do smaller areas that I need just a small little line. But
I've
again,
seen the handy quilter educators use that one.
Yeah, and I think that's
draw, like to mark where you want a free motion.
Yeah, when you're doing a big quilt like that, you've got lots of room.
But I guess it makes sense. You don't need an accurate line, because when I was filming, I was like, my gosh, what is that used for? That thing's huge.
Yeah, it is huge.
And then it
reminds me of the one the teachers had at school to use on a chalkboard, honestly.
Chalk holder, yeah.
Chalk holder. I mean, it's just like a chalk holder. But if you're doing a big swooping line, I don't need little details. If I'm doing something that requires little details, these make nice little sharps, and they come in different colors.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, it is a difference. And again, let's read the chalk cartridge practical for hobbies, quilting, modeling. They are special because in addition to precise line, they can also carry out exact price marking. I'm trying to find crack proof. Now see, it doesn't tell me. Oh, washes out with water and can be erased using special textile eraser, which is another product. It's on the end of it here. So a lot of times these pens have eraser refills. I know this sew line, the pencils that come in it, the lead comes in one color, and then the eraser is another. You replace the eraser and you replace the lead. And you can buy different colors of lead for it. So lots of choices. This one, another one, it's a disappearing one, air and water soluble. So this one's air soluble, this one's water soluble.
Oh, that's confusing.
Yeah, that's confusing. What if you got the cap on the wrong end? That would not be a good day. But this may work for what you're doing. If you're doing a project and you know you're going to be stitching it like right out, I might use these. But typically, these do say they disappear within. This one disappears within 48 to 72 hours.
So you better sew fast.
Sew fast, or don't mark a whole lot. Just mark a little bit and then keep going. This one is another one. This is the one that the Bone Company. Bowen. How do you say it? Do you say Bowen?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, yeah, we're
Bowen.
not sure. If somebody knows how to say that, put that in the comments for us. This one I think they created to replicate this. This one will, it says, marking appears spontaneously and clearly after a few seconds. That sounds a little bit good. This ink is iron erasable only. The heat of the iron will volatilize ink instantly. So they built this to do this, but I haven't ever tried this on fabric to see what happens. So if somebody's tried this one, tell us what you think. And then this one, okay, this one cracks me up. Black template marking pencil. You know what this is? It's a number 2 pencil. I kid you not. This template is to draw on plastic when designing your own plastic template. Special lead marking can be easily removed with a damp cloth. So here's the other part. You know what?
So that's for plastic.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you.
Not fabric. They should put that on the front, for plastic. Because black template, now I understand it. Oh yeah, template. Okay, you mark a template with it.
Right.
But boy, I've seen that, and I just thought you mark on fabric with it.
Right. So read there's words on the back. Read them.
But I'm in a hurry. I gotta get my quilt done, Cappy.
I know. Okay.
Babies are being born and married. People are getting married.
People get married and they gotta have them quilts, man. I gotta get them done. Okay. So then this one, now this, some of y'all are gonna be the same age as me, and you're gonna remember when I was in junior high school, they came out with this ink pen. And this was, and it clicked.
I have one.
Do you have one? Okay. So, and it had like
Bic multi-click.
Multi-click. And it had like 4 different colors. It was the coolest pen. I mean, if you had one of those, man, you were sitting at the cool table at lunchtime. So, anyway, this is kind of that, except it's for quilting. It says it's easy to use. Rotate the color to a dial, then draw this slider down into a selected color. Test pencils on the fabric to assure precise results. Now, it doesn't tell me anything about whether it disappears.
It says on the front, it says water soluble.
Okay, water soluble.
But it doesn't say what pH the water has to be.
Well, and it doesn't say how much water, hot water, cold water. It doesn't say, how long. Does it have to get completely immersed? Can I just wipe it with a rag? Use at your own risk.
It doesn't say whether it's sparkling water or plain water.
It doesn't. But you know what? It's so cool. It's like that big multi-pen.
Could you imagine if only sparkling water took out your marks?
Oh, wow. It's like, what is it? Red. If you have a red wine stain, white wine will lift it, I've been told. I don't know. I don't drink wine, so. Okay, and then this is, I honestly think, probably the one that some of us are still finding in grandma's stuff. These are the old quilting pencils forever and ever and ever. They can be washed out with soap and cold water. This is the first one I've seen that says soap and cold water.
Soap.
So it also says you can mark it on quilting fabric or for templates. So mark on template plastic only. Marks will remove with a damp cloth. So with this one, you're definitely using water to get rid of it. So if I'm going to do a template and mark where I'm going to do all my quilting, like all my free motion quilting, or if I'm going to do hand piecing or hand quilting and I want to quilt the whole top, I think this would be a good choice. But no, I'm going to have to wash the quilt to make it go away. Okay? So sometimes it's a little bit more. And think about it. Maybe it's something you're not going to wash. Maybe, just my earring just fell off.
So if you use that on a red and white quilt, and you have to use soap and water, and then the red bleeds.
Yeah.
A trauma, I'm telling you. I'd be traumatized.
Right, exactly. So here you are, guys. I don't know.
Okay, you better do a little quilt sample, like a little 10-inch block, and throw it in the washer.
I'm just saying.
And just test to see if the colors run.
Whatever you're using, make sure you first of all read the directions. Second of all, tested it on what you're going to use, and make sure you have an assortment of what you need, because as I said, I have these chalk markers. I do have the friction pens. I actually have one of these Soline pens. I don't use it very often. I might have to get it out and start using it more. I love the chubby chalk. I use that on garments primarily is where I use this. But, lots of choices. We just want you to make the best choice for your project. And we want you to be sure you're happy and that you don't come in here crying because you have a white line in the middle of your dark blue fabric because you used a pen that wasn't the right one. Okay, bad choice. I would definitely be using my chalk on this, and then I know it was going to brush away. So that's our little tip today on technique or tool. Each week we're going to try and feature a little tool to help you understand. We have all these in the store. If you don't know which one to order, call orders at the shop. You can call and talk to Jennifer or Deborah. You can always come in the shop. I don't know if Peter's going to try and link every one of these in our video because that's a lot.
I'm going to link them.
You're going to link them. Okay. So
in case you saw one that you have to have for your project.
Okay. So
somebody might want it.
Yeah, and maybe you've never
Maybe they've
used
been
these.
looking for it.
Right.
Or they didn't know you could get a little chalk wheel. My favorite, Peter's pick, would be the chalk wheel. Love how light the line is. Light and accurate.
It is accurate. It's
And
dead
easy to
on.
brush away, too.
It's not, they used to be really thick, but this is just a real smooth. Now, you kind of have to shake it a little bit to kind of move the chalk
Good point.
around.
Yeah.
A little bit, because you're like, well, it didn't do anything. It's because the chalk gets compacted. But these are refillable, too. So I think for your investment, this is a real good choice. Just really good. So that's it for our tips and technique as far as this week. We're going to go out now and do that thing that we all love. We're going to look at fabric, show you what's new. We actually have some that came in the back door, but we can't open the boxes yet because they're not quite ready. But, gosh, 3 lines came in today, I think. 2 or 3 lines at least.
Yeah.
And we got 2 or 3
lines. 3
Yeah.
lines came in today.
Yeah, so stay tuned. So watch us. We're going to be out front here in just a minute. Okay, guys, so now we're back in the store. And I wanted to show you some fabric. I love this. And so here's a little note. This is how it works in the store. Here's a note from Nancy. It says, Nancy would like a fat quarter bundle of this line. This is why you work here, you see, because when the fabric comes out, and you know, this is what I do with Tula, this is what Peter does with Kim Deal.
And I'm going to be putting in a request for Junk Journal.
Junk Journal, yeah, I got, oh, shh, you're anticipating, you got to participate. I'm going to show you a couple of things. That I have the layer cakes, but the fabric hasn't even been pulled yet. I mean, the fabric is still on the
the fabric is still cold because it just came off the truck.
It's not even warm yet, baby. That is how quick it's
Yeah,
coming
it hasn't
out. Okay.
been in the building long enough to warm
I want to show you
up.
these fabrics first of all because these are stunning red, white, and blues. I love that these would make a beautiful Quilts of Valor quilt, and we're going to show you. And it depends on how he puts all this together, but you're going to see this pattern, this salt and pepper pattern by Villarosa Designs, done in black and whites, but how stunning would it be in these red, white, and blues? And this would be a beautiful Quilts of Valor quilt. So many times the Quilts of Valor quilts are very masculine, but I can see a woman who was a veteran who would potentially love receiving this. I mean, just look how pretty it is.
I love that.
I'm totally messing it up, and they're going to
You're
kill
not
me.
messing it up.
They're going to kill me?
Nobody going to kill you.
Well, okay, anyway, so I love Nancy's note. Nancy would like a fat quarter bundle. So here's the other thing. You guys know if you want a fat quarter bundle,
And we're not singling out just Nancy because
no.
one time we had a line, 4 employees put in their notes
Everybody
on
was
top
like,
that they
"I
wanted a fat quarter. I need a fat quarter bundle.
well, or some of us order just get whole yards, you know. But is this not the best?
Wait, just yards? I thought you get 2 yards.
Okay. True confessions here.
Now I'm singling you out.
You are singling me out.
2 yard cuts.
Because when I come up and I say, I just want a yard of everything, they will go, are you sure you don't want 2, Cappy? And I'll be like, okay, give me 2. So I've got, if you're ever looking for a piece of fabric, let me know, because I probably have it. Okay, there you go. The problem of ordering the fabric is you want a piece of everything. Gosh, is that pretty. It's not even out of the plastic. It has not even got the labels on it. They haven't even figured out where they're going to stage it yet. So, but it's beautiful.
Cool. That's a nice mix
Isn't
of
that
everything.
pretty? It's just,
I love that print.
it's got a retro feel to it. These would be fun to fussy cut.
Love that blue.
English paper piecing. Can you imagine?
I think you say that about everything.
Well, I kind of do.
I think everything.
I'm not doing it enough, and I've heard from several of you want to see me do some more English paper piecing, and I will. I have too many things I want to do.
She's having too many fabric meetings.
Too many fabric meetings and too many fabric meetings. That's been the thing. But anyway, this is a brand new line, brand new. I don't even have a pattern for it yet, I don't think. Because this line was actually supposed to come in and it didn't come in when we were supposed to get it. So if you bought it someplace else and you're like, oh, I need more of it, we've got it. But I'm excited about this line. And again, I think this is a great pattern to make with it, the salt and pepper. Now, I hinted that there's a box in the back. There's several boxes in the back, and this is what's in them. We have been anxiously awaiting the arrival of this fabric. It's called Junk Journal by Kathy Holden.
Can I say we've been anxiously awaiting ever since we saw it, I think, a year ago?
Yeah.
Was it a year when we saw it?
It was probably a year. Yeah, because it's usually that long between ordering fabric. And you're just getting to see a corner of it. Oh my gosh.
This is not doing it justice.
It is not. It is
especially her big prints.
stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. If you're doing junk journaling, if you know what that is, it's where they just, take little pieces of fabric and cards and memories and put them all in a little, like, It's like scrapbooking, used to
Yeah.
be. But anyway, this is Kathy's Holden's Junk Journal fabric. It's in the building, not processed yet, but in the building. And then also Yoder of Sunwashed. This is Coriander Quilts. And we just got this one into, let me turn it this way to get a good fan. And this one's fun. Look at that check. That's a nice big gingham. That's hard to find. It is in red too. This is fun. This is just, oh look, it's an orange. I bet it's going to be in yellow and green. What do you bet? There's the yellow. Right. There's the green. And I love Yoder stuff. It's just very fun. So we have the layers. We have the charms. No, we have layers and jellies. I don't see any charms. But you know, you just take a layer cake, cut it in 4 pieces, and you got charms, right? That's how it works. So anyway, those are in the building. The bolts are not processed yet, but the pre-cuts are on the floor. If you want them, get them while they're hot, because they're going to be going. So now that was blank. This was Moda. We're going to go over here and we're going to look at some more. We're going to look at In the Beginning fabrics by Jason Yenter. If y'all know Jason, he does some great stuff. I'm going to come over here and we're going to photobomb these gals here.
Let's get them.
Let's get them. We're going to photobomb you. Look at
Everybody scatter.
Everybody runs. Oh, okay, this is called, what's it called, Peter?
Okay, the sun, the moon, and the stars.
And
Did I get it right?
You did.
Or is it called something else?
No, it's the sun, the moon.
Did I
and
get
the
it in the
stars.
right order?
Yeah, you did. So here's the sample. Our kid that does our sample hanging will be here tomorrow. So we're looking at
Man,
this
that's
quilt.
gorgeous.
Yeah, and Peter was going on and on about how pretty it was, and he's like, oh my gosh, look, it says you are the sun, the moon, and the
Wait,
stars.
hold on. Let me zoom in on that.
Get it? You are the sun and the moon and the stars. And Peter's like, oh, that must be why they call it that. Yep. We have so much fun teasing each other around here. Because, you know, we're all just a bunch of goofballs. And we say silly things. So anyway, yeah, this is a stunning quilt. And unusual to what he usually does. He usually has a mitered corner. This is a squared corner. So for those of you who are a little anxious about doing miters, you don't have to do a miter in this one. But this is beautiful. It is great. And the fabric that goes with it is equally stunning. If the quilt doesn't appeal to you, there's other ways you could use this fabric, I feel sure. I see, like, you got some teenager that's into black and the moon and the stars. This would be great curtains in a room.
That's gorgeous.
Isn't that pretty? And you know me.
Gorgeous.
Know what I see here?
English paper piecing.
English paper piecing. And I can see a handbag made out of this too. This would be really pretty with some black.
Oh yeah.
Black trim, or even the green. Pick up the green. There's some of that vinyl stuff that's green. Cork.
Vinyl.
Yeah. And then look at this one. I love this.
Well, what's this one?
And look, it's got dragonflies and snails and fern leaves and mushrooms. Isn't that a toadstool
I
or a
bet you
mushroom?
could use that for EPP.
You probably. Oh, you can use everything for EPP. Are you kidding? Yeah, wouldn't that make a great little piece right there? The little squirrel in the middle of a hexagon. The daisy in the hexagon. The fussy cutting of English paper piecing just consumes me. It's terrible. You never look at a piece of fabric again. Look how pretty this one is.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
That'd be a great back. A quilt back. I mean, that would just be pretty.
That's pretty.
It'd be great for background too.
There's a tonal wash going on
Yeah,
too
there
on
is
the
a tonal
background.
wash. It's got a.
That's neat.
It's not dirty. It's
Tonal,
a
gray.
grayish cream in it. So this is a beautiful line. Lots of variety. You know what Jason does that is so cool. Which one?
That
This
print,
one?
yeah.
Is he's a
That
quilter.
astrology print's cool.
He's a quilter. Oh yeah, it is. It's the star. It's Pisces and Virgo and Sagittarius and all that. He's a quilter. So he does a really nice job of giving you the quilting choices you need. You get a light, a medium, a dark. You get a large, a medium, a small. So you get a nice assortment of colors and design elements to use to balance your quilt. It's not all one colorway or one color tone or one size of the print. Because your eye, like music, a quilt should have lots of variations in it. And that's what you're going to get with his quilts, because he doesn't have to. Oh, look at this one. It's dragonflies.
Whoa.
Aw, you got somebody the dragonfly fan.
Dragonflies in the night sky.
Okay, and black and gold, it's Purdue. Oh my goodness.
Black and gold quilt, Purdue.
How perfect is that?
I see the gold. We probably have Purdue panels.
Yeah, I think we might still have some of the Purdue panels over there. I don't know. They sell fast when we get them. Okay, so there you go.
I want to needle turn those circles, cut those out and needle turn and applique those circles.
Why would you want to needle turn anything, Peter?
Just as a challenge.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty on a bag.
Yeah, it would. It'd be
just a random,
rusty.
like that piece right there.
Uh-huh.
That'd be fun.
Okay, those of you who agree with Peter on needle turning, we love you too. I'm not a needle turn kind of guy. You know, that's really
now
silly.
Virginia's watching.
I know, Virginia.
She's a needle turner.
And the stupid part is I do English paper piecing, which is just like one step away from needle turn. And I won't do needle turn, but I'll English paper piece.
If you can EPP, 1,000 stitches per inch, you can definitely do applique.
You can. I hate to fold
It's
this one
magical.
up. This one will be displayed probably after Wednesday because that's when our hanger guy comes in. Our hanger guy. Okay.
Where do I go?
Right back here.
Oh, so I just need to turn?
Just turn. And right under these here penguin.
Oh, he's cute.
And it's appropriate for him to be today.
I like him. Is it National Penguin Day? No, it's zebra.
Zebra.
International zebra? Where's our zebra? I see a donkey, and there's no horse, of course.
Of course. That one's sold. So we get these in because you can embroider on them. And we have an embroidery department now. So if you would want one of these embroidered with a birth date or a kid's name or something like that, she could do that for you. You could buy it and then bring it in, and Sarah will do the embroidery work on it. And it's not very expensive. It's really pretty cheap to get embroidery work done. So that's why we have these stuffed animals around.
And if anybody's watching, get the horse and embroider it for me. I'm just saying.
That's a giraffe.
Well, there's a donkey. There was a horse.
There's an elk.
We need to reorder that horse.
We need to reorder the horse for Peter. Okay. So this is the fabric I want to talk about next. This is from the Blank Company as well. This is called Rural Fantasy. And there's a pattern and a kit. So here's the pattern, which uses the panel. And we've put kits together of this for you to be able to purchase the kit if you don't want to have to figure that out. Let me hold the panel up so you can see the pretty colors in this.
Because that does it no justice.
It never does. A piece of paper is never as good as a fabric piece. Look how fun that is.
Teacups, birds.
I'm looking for something to hang on my
books.
front porch. This may have to go on my front porch behind my swing.
I love those little rain boots.
This would be really perfect for that.
No, bicycle.
It's the colors
There's a
of my
flower
house.
basket. Yeah, those are the colors of your house.
Oh, yeah, it'd be perfect. That aqua's my front door, and the brown of the brick, and the gray in the house. I might have to put one of these on the front porch.
Now, would you English paper piece that?
Oh, brother. I'm being reminded that I need to start my English paper piecing again. Yes, it is time. It is time. So anyway, this is a beautiful line. I love how it's just soft. Look at these pretty little houses. And the little bluebirds. Those look like cookie jars almost, but there's a bicycle in front of it.
Jar, that does look like
It's what makes me think of a cookie jar. Teacups, a little bit of books. The color's pretty too, that gingham. I wonder if they give you that.
Pretty.
We got the teapot. If you got somebody, now this, you know what do you need out of this, Peter? You know what you need? A tea cozy.
Oh, I do, because I have that one tea cozy that's looks
You need to
like
post a
it's-
picture. Okay.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I buried it. It's
Oh, did you
gone.
bury it?
Yeah, it's gone.
So we like I said, we tease each other a lot. On Peter's desk, he has this teapot because he drinks tea all day, and it had this, I don't know, this moldy sweater that.
No,
he
it
dug out
wasn't
of
moldy. It was not moldy. It did not dig it out of the trash.
the-
Okay, it was because we carry felted wool.
Yes.
It was a felted wool sweater.
Ah, okay, but it was just a portion of the.
But it was a
sweater.
portion because somebody cut around and used all the other bits. So I I used it to wrap around my teapot, and it was very effective because of how thick and warm it is.
It was, but it was
then
not attractive.
But then I got teapot cozy shamed and stopped using it.
He did because, okay, first of all, very talented person can make anything, and he has this ratty looking piece of wool wrapped around this beautiful teapot. Oh, well, you get the point here. It's like, somebody make him a cozy, would you please, for his teapot. Okay, here's butterflies. I love butterflies. My grandmother loved butterflies. Look how pretty those are.
That color looks good on camera.
It does. It looks pretty here. I mean, that's a fun little piece. This would be great for for patio. It's time to start thinking about what are you going to set on your patio. So maybe you want to do a little table runner and some placemats to put on your patio and your back porch for the summer. And the other thing is, I think sometimes we don't really think about it, but it's really okay to take this fabric. We have a product called Eau de Coat that you could make a little rug out of this and put it outside. It'll work. It's water resistant. So if you're interested in that Eau de Coat product, take a look at that. But it'll take anything that's cloth and make it water resistant. So if you're worried about putting it on your back patio or something, you could certainly do that with any of the fabrics we have. So I think that's it for the fabric tour today. Honestly, we get so much fabric in here. I could spend just about every day just walking around showing you new fabrics. But there's a couple other things coming in our video that are really fun, so I hope you get to watch the whole thing. There's prizes being given away as well, so don't miss that part of it. So if you watched our video last week for What's New, you might have remembered that we spoke with one of our fabric vendors.
Interrogated, yeah.
I put him on the spot.
It made him uncomfortable.
He was a little uncomfortable. His wife is real gregarious, so she wasn't fazed by, I'll talk all day long, but he was a little shy. But anyway, his name was Kurt Meyer and his wife Cindy, and he was gracious enough after doing that video that made him a little uncomfortable. He does better one-on-one. He left us these things to give away. And I said he was going to do something, and when he came in with these afterwards, I was like, oh, that is so generous. And so we get to give away prizes to 3 people. So we went through the list of people that had commented, and we picked 3 names. So Joe Hilpert is going to get this. This is a strip set from the Contempo company, and it's called Warp and Weft, and this is a fabric line we actually had. I'm going to flip it around when you're ready, Peter. Mm-hmm. And this is a woven fabric, so it's what you might call a homespun, but the colors are just brilliant. So that's going to be for Joe, and she's going to have to give us a call now, or call the shop. Peter will put that information on the winner thing. So that's from the Contempo company. And these are all companies that Kurt represents, so that's why he gave us so many samples to give away. Then this is from the Timeless Treasures company. This is their thatched, I believe it's called thatched. Am I saying it right? Mix, maybe? Mix. So this is just a little charm pack of all the collection, all the colors, and gosh, I bet there's more than 42 in there. That's a thick charm pack. Look how that's really, really thick. Wouldn't that make a fun quilt?
I would.
You could just sew those together just in squares and just make a quilt out of it.
That'd be a great kids quilt.
It would be a beautiful kids quilt. Beautiful. So this is going to go to Leah Bobbitt, Bobbitt. She was one that commented on our video. And then this lovely Tula, I'm just saying, I really almost didn't give this one away.
I was just about to say, I bet you that one was hard to give away, wasn't it, Cappy?
Except I already have one at home. And that particular fabric, I bought a 15-yard bolt. So what can I say? Because that's what you do when you work here. So anyway, this is going to go to Jenny Tobias. So all of you, you have to respond to this within the next couple weeks. If we don't hear from you, we're going to draw another name to give it to. But I'm so glad you watched our videos. I'm so glad you commented on the process. And you guys had some good insights about, it's a lot of fun, but there is some complexity to trying to figure out, how do we order everything to meet everybody's taste? It's like creating a menu at a restaurant, and some people really hate asparagus, and other people love it. And so you have to be sure you have a balance of things people love and things people hate, and then everybody gets something they want. So that's what we try to do when we order our fabric. We have a little bit of everything, and Kurt is one of the sales reps that represents several companies, so we get some big diversity there. So thanks for playing along with that. And then I didn't want to not comment about the quilt behind me. This one it's made from a pattern called Salt and Pepper, which is a Villa Rosa design. It's one of these cute little just single card patterns where everything you need is on this
Put
card.
it closer to the camera.
Closer to the camera. There you go. Villa Rosa is the company. And I can't flip it over because the entire pattern is on the back of this little card. And these little cards are like $3. And they're always super simple.
What a great pattern.
Yeah. For $3 I get a pattern. And these make up lovely.
That'd make a great king-size quilt if you just made it bigger.
And the nice thing about this is it's basically you just make more of the same block and just
That's
put more
awesome.
on the outside. So yeah.
Who made it? Who done it for us?
This was Stephanie, who's our machine
Nice.
department manager, made this quilt for our store sample, and she used Wyndham Maker's Cottage, which is Maker's Cottage is the name. The Wyndham is the company.
Oh, nice.
Maker's Cottage is the fabric, and I love that.
I love the tone.
It's a good boy quilt, you know. I think sometimes you have those quilts that really speak so much femininity that this one kind of is a little more masculine. So I like that. It can be hard to find that kind. So anyway, that's a new sample that's going up. It may not quite be up if you see this and come in right away because our sample hanger doesn't come in but every week or so. And he's not always here right away hanging up our samples for us. We have a lovely young high school gentleman who comes in and climbs on the ladder because all of us are afraid to. And he gets up real high. If you've been in the store, you know how high our ceilings are. So he climbs up and puts the quilts up there. So yeah, Stephanie pieced the quilt, and she also did the quilting. So if you see this one in the store, look at the quilting on it because she did it on her handy quilter, and I love the geometry of it. It's just a really cool quilt. So way to go, Stephanie. So that's the quilt, and now that I think concludes what we wanted to show you today. We're so glad you're watching us. Stay tuned for next week, and Peter will again remind me, oh Cappy, guess what's new? And I'll have to remember that it's the day to film. And we'll look forward to seeing you next Tuesday when it's time for What's New again. Happy stitching.